June, no, don't worry. She's not going to study philosophy. Sweetheart, we talked about this. You're going to study something which will actually give you a proper career. Law, medicine, or business. We don't want to become ashamed of you now, do we? Goodness. I'm already dealing with enough. Kaylee, is that you? What a young woman you've become. Must be your final year of high school, isn't it? So, what university are you going to?
Actually, I'm not going to university.
Karen, why are you not making her go to university? You know that everybody has to go to university to be able to get any kind of job these days. Oh my god, I'm sorry I'm late. Like, what is it with everyone striking at the moment? I'm sorry, but like, if you wanted to get more money, then you should have just gotten a better job. So annoying. Kaylee, please stop disturbing our guests. The point is, everybody, if people actually wanted to earn, what is it that you call it, a living wage, then they just need to pick themselves up by their bootstraps and get a better job, don't they? Just choose a different career that can actually earn you more money. That's all you have to do. Just like that's why Kaylee is going to university to take one of the courses that we approve of. So then she doesn't wind up in this sort of situation and then moaning about like, oh no, society's let me down. We're not going to be having a useless daughter, are we, Kaylee? Don't tell judgmental June that I stole her cardigan, okay? It wouldn't be the festive season without feelings of guilt, pressure, and classism now, would it? But do not worry, if you're between the age of 3 months to 30 years, you don't have to miss out on any of that. If you're over the age of 30 like me, you just get hit with the guilt of what you could have been if you'd have followed your parent or caregiver's direction in life, because you are now just a disappointment. Super fun, huh? For those of you who are school age, the pressure on you to get good grades and, if you're rich enough, go to the correct after school programs and do the correct extracurricular activities is a super intense feeling. There is a lot of pressure put on kids in order to channel them into this pipeline straight to university or college. I know that it's called different things. I'll just refer to it as like tertiary education, okay? Basically, it's anything above high school, because didn't you know that like just graduating high school isn't enough in life? Because if you didn't know, you're actually a reflection on your parents, and so I'm sorry, but an average job is just not good enough, okay? They wanted better for you, and when they say they wanted better for you, they didn't mean like they want your happiness. They want you to be better. Isn't it fun returning home? I'm going to be doing a deeper dive in the new year about this topic, so don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell notification so you can participate in our survey to actually help inform that video. But for now, I really want to hone in on this particular thing. So I asked in a poll actually about this, so thank you very much for the 2,300 of you who voted and participated and the 144 comments on there, because wow, very informative. If you've done higher or tertiary education, have you used your diploma or degree in your career? 38% said, I used my diploma/degree to get into the career I'm still in. 10%, I used my diploma/degree to get into a career but left it. 21%, I got a diploma or degree but pursued a different career. 10%, I got a diploma/degree due to pressure, didn't help my career. 21%, I went to higher education from pressure but dropped out. We were all hoping for happier results than this, right? Only 38% of people actually going into study for a career that they wanted to do and actually still in it. That's pretty low. I was really wanting more than that. For all of these other people, trust me, I am not calling you a failure at all, because this video is about the pressure that is put on people to actually go to university, go into higher education, and the fact that that doesn't always work out to be like the best thing. Like, I know people who went to university straight after school and they went and got their qualifications for something, and then they just literally haven't used that at all, instead are settled with a whole bunch of debt. I know people who went to study something and dropped out, which is also okay. Like, for example, my husband, I did ask him with him before I'm actually telling you this. So he was one of the people that, you know, they kind of get like shoulder tapped. It's like, hey, you're smart enough to be able to go to university now, even though you're still in high school age. You can just skip out on the rest of the year and just go straight off to uni. He actually took that opportunity. He went to university and he dropped out, which is completely fine. But the thing is, right, because there is so much emphasis on like, you need to grow up faster, you need to do this thing, you need to get in onto your career as soon as possible. There is so much pressure, not just from parents, from society in general, from the teachers, from the schooling system, everything. So much pressure on all of that. What actually worked for Brandon in the long term was going into a cadetship with a company, so then he was studying and working at the same time. And this was all to become an engineer, because he is a civil engineer. I mean, yes, it took him longer to do it that way, but it was way more sustainable. Like, the focus on one approach to things is really not good, in my opinion.
Michael is a first-generation college graduate who went on to get his master's in social work and now owes $240,000 in student loans.
If you are a citizen in certain European countries, or at a place like Malaysia or Argentina or Nordic nations, you can actually get a tertiary education for free, if not for very low costs. Like, maybe it'll cost hundreds of dollars a year as opposed to thousands of dollars a year. And there were a number of you actually in the comment section saying that if you did actually go into study and then you dropped out, or you changed your career onto something else, it didn't matter all that much because you didn't really have to pay heaps for it. And you actually learned a lot on those courses, and you learned a lot about yourself, you learned a lot to actually be able to apply to other things. So it was really useful for you. However, that's not for everybody, and I know that most of my audience is in the USA and Canada, and yeah, we're definitely part of the people, including here in Aotearoa, where you have to pay through the nose if you want to actually get a higher education, yet the same force and pressure is still put on you. Well, not all of us are trust fund babies, okay? You know how parents go on about how a tattoo is like a permanent thing and it lasts forever? It's the same thing when it comes to tertiary education fees, okay? That stuff you'll drag along with you forever, because you know what exists? Interest that just keeps on getting piled on. So no matter how much like you keep on paying, you keep on paying, you keep on paying, it's really hard to actually chip away at that. Like, there are so many news stories actually covering this, and I'm going to be covering this deeper in a future video. In 2019, a study was conducted of 3,200 college kids, and it found that those who took out a student loan were actually worse in their mental and physical health. Like, they would put things off, like going to the doctor or going to a dentist. And I mean, it's like, I could have told you for free that if you are poor, you're going to have a worse quality of life and you're going to actually suffer a lot more. But there is a study to confirm it for students.
In the USA, where I know most of you are from, this article from CNBC shows that over the last 30 years, between 1991 to 1992 and 2021 to 2022, average tuition prices have more than doubled, and wages haven't actually kept up and household incomes have become stagnant. The average loan balance at graduation has tripled since the 90s to $30,000 from $10,000, and around 7% of student loan borrowers are now more than $100,000 in debt. And it takes on average about 17 years for people to pay off their educational debt. However, noting this is an average, so there are people that are spending way longer than that paying that off.
In the UK in 2018, a study from Barclays Apprenticeships found that 48% of students and graduates regret going to university. 44% said they do not need a degree for their current job, and 65% of young people felt pressure to go to university. And the thing is, right, what if you don't stick to the job that you actually went to tertiary education for to begin with? What if you get sick during that time? What if you become disabled? What if you have to take care of someone in your family instead? Like, there are so many things that can actually deeply impact this, and for those people that actually do take on debt, this is like a huge weight that they have to take on their shoulders. It's kind of like a lurking, creepy uncle at the Christmas party, you know? It's like, you know that they're always there, you know that they're always watching, and you can never have a good time. I know that there are parents that say, oh, we will pay for your education, we want you to be able to further yourself, we want better for you than what we had, and then they're also using that money to kind of like angle you towards a career that they want you to have, because money can absolutely be a coercive tool, and it doesn't always work out all that well. I mean, at least for me personally, I would, if you're in this position, look at how your whole family handles money, look at how they all are towards each other, and especially towards the topic of money, and I would almost just encourage people to say that yes, I will accept a loan from you, get it in writing, get all of this stuff down, and have agreements in place. Because look, the Gilmore Girls show only needed to exist once. We don't need more of Emily, okay?
I'll get the checkbook.
Thank you. You have no idea. Thank you.
On one condition.
So close.
A lot of this pressure actually comes down to classism, and you may not want to admit it, but a lot of us hold on to classist bias. The idea that you can't get a good job without a degree is so pervasive, and it's existed, in my opinion, especially since boomers were actually kids. So back in the UK, what actually happened was there was a test that kids took when they were 11 years old, and it decided what kind of schooling that they were actually allowed or smart enough to go into. So for the kids that weren't smart enough, they would actually go into secondary modern. The purpose of this education was to mainly focus on the training of basic skills such as arithmetic, mechanical skills such as woodworking, and domestic skills such as cookery. Then all of the kids that were intelligent enough, they went to grammar schools, and guess which kind of schools actually got more funding? So even though this was only in the UK, to my knowledge, it definitely does like have a kind of ripple effect, because this sort of mentality towards like blue collar workers being stupid, being below them, being less worthy, is something that people still really hold on to today. And then you're projecting that onto your kids, which makes me even more sad. But it is also understandable why people have internalized this messaging if this is something that you grew up with from the age of 11. Imagine that, being separated from your friends because like you weren't smart enough to hang out with them anymore. And it kind of creates like this kind of clique thing. You've got like the smart people go here, they get all of the advantages, and the stupid people go over here and they can only learn, what is it, cookery and machinery, even though those are like skilled things that people have to do. Anyway, it's like intellectualism and the whole like eugenics around people's IQ, which is something I really want people to like let go of, because IQ measurement is not only sexist, but it's also incredibly racist. You cannot deny the disdain that actually exists for people that work in the public sector and for people that exist in the service sector. Like, these people do a whole bunch of really important work, yet when they're asking for more, or when they're going on strike for something, or saying that they want a living wage or something like that, you know, oh, we don't have enough nurses to be able to actually work safely here. Oh, rail workers want to go on strike because they're working not only in unsafe conditions, but they haven't been given a raise in years. And then you've got people like President Biden, who is apparently for the people, forcing them to work because it would cost the economy too much, but instead of like actually giving them money off. Anyway, I could go off on one about all of that, but I'm going to recommend both of these videos from Legion Miller. They're going to be in the description box down below for you to go check out. Unions are important. There goes Mr. Heartless. There goes Mr. Cruel. So on that whole minimum wage thing, you know, like I included in the skit at the start, I have seen so many people say, well, people should be grateful if they get $1 per hour, $1 a day even, because they're unskilled workers. And I'm just here like, how have we gotten to this point? This is basically saying that society relies on the forced labor of others. Which, whilst it's true, especially in this capitalist hellscape, it doesn't mean it's something that people should be defending. What people are saying here is that someone's life, someone's work isn't worth enough for them to be able to afford the luxury of being able to afford to pay their rent, to be able to afford to buy a home. Because don't forget, houses are what? Homes. They are shelters for people. They should not be viewed as investments. What people are actually saying here is that they'd rather these people be living in poverty as like a punishment for the fact that they made poor choices. It's really concerning to me that we're viewing other people as this, but it's even worse in my mind that you're projecting this onto your kids. Like, it's one thing to critique the way that the world works, but it's a whole other to actually project this onto your kids, especially if they're not actually conforming into the perfect little capitalist cog that makes you look good in comparison to your peers' children. Because don't come at me, I know that everybody compares their kids to each other's kids.
Environmental law? No money, even less money. Immigration law? No money, plus it's a bummer.
If people want to be paid more, then they should just get a better job. People that say this are acting like it's so easy, and they actually haven't thought through this phrase literally at all. Like, yes, it is amazing for certain people who are able to go to night school or take on part-time study to be able to like pursue a career or something that they actually want to be able to do and upskill in some way. That's great. However, that costs money. That takes time. People can have to travel for that stuff. And also, you're forgetting entire sections of the population. What about people with disabilities? What about people with neurodivergent issues? What about people with mental health issues? If they are at a job that they can actually cope with the amount of work with, that they're actually accepted in, like in whatever form that comes in, like whether people are working part-time or flexible, or heck, I'm gonna say it, even if people aren't able to work at all, it doesn't mean that these people are any less worthy worthy of being able to like have an affordable life, like a life where they're actually able to not only afford to live a pretty okay, nice life, also have money to be able to tuck away into savings, have money to be able to have a little treat, you know, have money to be able to actually live a full life instead of like being constantly punished. But again, I've talked more about that in my ableism video up here. And that's even if people with disabilities, neurodivergent issues, or mental health issues are able to be hired, because we live in such an ableist society that really does discriminate. As much as workplaces say, we care about your mental health, I've got a whole video I want to make on this, but I can't right now. This whole better jobs thing actually relies on people being in like a few positions that exist, like kind of managerial roles. And in my opinion, at least, as uneducated as I am, we kind of need people of all different skills, interests, abilities to be able to actually have a functional society, not just people that are telling other people what to do. That could just be me. I don't know. I'm just a person on the internet. What do I know? Not only that, but the better jobs are actually gate-kept. Like, look at how many CEOs are white. Look at how many people in your management team at whatever workplace you're at are white or man, or, you know, a combination of both of those things. The diversity is often just like a couple of women around. Oh, maybe there could be a brown person there. Ooh, wow, amazing. It's a pretty gate-kept place to be able to actually get a better job. The other elephant in the room here is the fact that jobs actually aren't paying as much as what you may think. In places like the US, Canada, Australia, here in Aotearoa, the UK, when you actually look at the cost of tertiary education, it is only steeply inclined. Whereas the earning power of these jobs hasn't had that same trajectory. So how is any of this actually sustainable? And not only that, but you're asking an 18-year-old to just embark on like 8 to 12 years of study for specialist jobs in particular. And what if they want to change their mind partway through? Because I don't know about you, but when I was 18, I wanted quite different things to me now.
Let's rock this. April, I love you, but I don't need your sarcasm right now.
I'm serious. Let's get rolling. I want to get into some garbage. What? I love garbage.
Not everybody is cut out for going to university, and that is completely okay. And I actually hate the fact that so many jobs demand people have got a diploma or some sort of higher education to be able to prove that they can actually work. What if they've been doing this whole time? What if they've actually worked at many other jobs and they've done incredibly well there? Oh, it's not the same as like being able to apply yourself. I really hate this kind of classist and intellectualist mindset. The way society functions right now is we're pressuring kids to have their entire life mapped out before they're even about 10 years old, really, because you have to start specializing, especially once you get into like secondary school. It's like, are you good at science? Are you good at maths? Are you good at English? Where are we going to put you? What sort of career path are we going to put you on? When you're a kid and you're still learning about so much stuff, the world and yourself, and like, what if you're going through stuff at home and whatever, like, it really bothers me so much. And I did say this when I was 18 myself, but I still kind of stand by it, honestly. For the people that actually want to go into university straight after high school, I want people to have like 1 year where they are working in the service industry, whether that's hospitality, retail, rubbish and recycling, something actually in the service industry to experience like what the world is like, experience real life, because you learn so many skills there that you can't learn in just a strictly educational setting. You learn the skills of having extreme patience. You learn the skills of conflict management. You learn how to handle people that are threatening you, because literally on the first day at one of my jobs, I had a lady come right up close to me and tell me that she wanted me to F off and she wanted to do all sorts of terrible things to me. That was on my first day in a retail job. That was wonderful. Service industry jobs are actually far harder than people give them credit for, and honestly, it may even prevent people from being so incredibly rude to waiters, to anybody who works in the service industry. If people just had to experience, I don't know, a year actually working there and learn a whole bunch of stuff at the same time, learn things about themselves, and maybe have a bit of time, not in just an educational setting, to be like, is this what I really want, or do I actually need more time before going on to education? Should I just get a working job in like some other place to be able to figure things out for myself first? Because hey, I'm 18, I don't know everything about the world, let alone myself. Should I really get saddled with 100 grand worth of debt right now at this point in my life? I will tell you a very quick personal story here, because I was one of the people that was getting a lot of pressure to actually go to university. I was the disappointment. And I talked about this with my mum recently, but like, she really did want me to go to university. She was a scientist, my brother's a scientist, like very intelligent family. I'm not good at science. And also like with all of the stuff that I was going through at the time, like big mental health issues, actual health issues as well. I worked in retail. That was an incredibly hard job. I did that for 5 more years. I went on to become a receptionist and I worked my way up to office manager, and now I'm an executive assistant. I was the disappointment, and that's one of the main reasons I wanted to make this video, because after like years of actually working in different jobs and stuff, my mum has actually been like, I'm actually really glad that you did that because you've taught me so much. Like, you've changed my mind on so many things. You've changed my mind on the whole go to university first thing. So people can change their minds, even if it has been kind of like ingrained in them. It doesn't mean it was any easier to live through when I was a teenager and then decided to not go to university and have to try and justify it in all different ways. Even if you're falling into the disappointment category now, I personally think it's more important that actually people find what they want to do in their life, that people don't go getting forced into these rash decisions to take on mountains of debt. Like, yes, if you're in one of the countries where you can just go to university for free or something and you want to be able to learn more about yourself that way, I'm more than happy for you to be able to do that. Not everybody has the luxury of being able to do that, because some people have to work to support their family. People have got disabilities and health issues, like I was saying before. Like, everybody's life is different, and I don't like the pressure for everybody to get funneled into this one particular thing. So I don't really think it's healthy or sustainable, and it devalues like the important work that so many other people do, and it devalues people's lives, and that is not a very happy, merry thing when you think about it at this time of year.
Humbug.
I hope that you enjoyed this video. I try not to bring other people into my videos, so don't go making any mean comments about my mum, okay? Everybody can unlearn things at whatever point in life that they're at, and I hold nothing against her, honestly. So yeah, I hope that you got something from this video, and in terms of emojis, if you made it all the way to the end, I don't even know if I want to leave the whole graduation diploma sort of thing, or the money sort of thing. I mean, heck, you can leave an assortment of them if you want, or just like this emoji. If you are one of the people that has actually been pressured or gets pressured or whatever to go to university, because relatable, we've all been there. It's not fun, but there can be light at the end of the tunnel. I will see you again next week for another video. Bye.
Sure, your parents might think you're